Hey guys, it's been a while since I made a video. My wife and I, we were closed a few weeks, both going through our stuff, you know, health stuff. But anyway, we're still alive, we're on the mend. Been working on Ratzuki, not Frankenzuki, Ratzuki here. I'll go over all the systems in another little segment in this video. I just wanted to show you fuel pressure for nitrous, what I run, what I'm doing right now, and why I'm doing it. So basically, I use a blue Holley pump to the nitrous solenoids and the fuel solenoid, and the regulator. You want to make sure when you can kind of simulate your fuel pressure close to when you're going down the racetrack. So what I do is I ran some other fogger nozzles here out of the cylinder head just into a funnel here. I put, I'm not going to tell you what size jets, but pretty large ones. I would say how I used to run it on kill in here. I stepped up from a baby load up to some real big ones. So, you know, when you have the pump and you deadhead it, you're going to have a lot more fuel pressure. This is like a Holley Blue Summit copy that puts out anywhere from 12 to 14 pounds if it's just deadheaded with the solenoid closed. So let me just show you real quick. I'm going to come around the other side here and swap with Kurt with the camera. So, like I say, I'm going to tell you all about the systems, all the wiring, but that's another segment, okay? So basically, I'm going to turn on the ignition, fuel pump, and my little power shifter here that's tapped into a button on this side. I will have the capability of the button arm of nitrous. If I want to just do a test pass, wait till third gear. Flip it this way. I have a little ramp in the throttle. It comes on half throttle. So anyway, more on that later. So let's turn it on, and then I'll show you the fuel pressure, and then when it's going through the big jets, to kind of simulate as close as you can to with the engine running on the gas down the track. So we're going to turn on the systems. Okay, watch this thing at a deadhead, it'll build up. Probably go to around 12, 11 and a half or 12. Yep. Okay, now we're going to turn on the nitrous. Okay, Kurt, show them. See, I got it set at 6 pounds. That's what I run. And there they are, watch. Okay. So basically, I have little block-off caps right here on the nozzles for the nitrous side, so no leakage comes out. All I have is the fuel jets, the bigger ones, okay, that I would run. So anyway, that's why you do it like that. That's a true, as close as you can to a true running fuel pressure without the engine running. You know, on the dyno you could do it with it running and keep an eye on it, but it's not necessary. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you in case you're setting up a nitrous bike. Okay guys, I'm here with Ratzuki, blast from the past, the my pro street bike / pro mod from back in '89 through '94 or 5. I've been working on, you know, for oh geez, a couple years now. But anyway, I wanted to go over the systems and my wiring and show you kind of how I set this thing up, kind of like it was in the back in the day, and some stuff a little bit updated. So let's get started. I think you'll enjoy looking at all this stuff. So let's start from the front and the controls and the handlebars and all that good stuff. So here's ignition. This is the fuel pump for the fuel solenoids. This is my electric shifter. And this is a NOS switch. So let's start with the ignition. I'll show you a self-test the shift light does. I've got an air fuel that I never have, which I'll probably only be able to look at in high gear. If something's going awry, I can back out if it gets lean. Okay, I'll turn the ignition on. You saw the shift light will blink once. That's the dyno, that's what they do. Okay, like that. And then it takes about 20 seconds. The heater has to heat up in the O2. The heater in this one can handle leaded race fuel, supposedly without getting damaged. We'll see. And this is a little Daytona Tach I bought from them, a little digital Tach. I have to program that once I fire the motor up. So anyway, what happens here is basically I do my burnout, start the motor, see there, 22.4. That means it's properly set and ready to meter the fuel. So I'm going to turn the ignition back off now. Okay, so what happens is I do my burnout in second gear. I roll out, put the bike in second gear, do my burnout, come out of the bleach box, stop the bike, and when I get up near the staging, and when I put it in first gear, okay, the only thing on at this point is your ignition, okay? When I get it in first gear and I'm rolling up the stage, this switch right here, I'll turn on the electric shifter once I put it in gear. That's my shifter. I was the first one to invent an electric shifter back in, 1982 with the Kawasaki's, and then for the GS 1100 motor, and then I made my Power Shifter 2 with the adjustable kill box as a second generation. This is my first generation with the plate on the side of the engine that's triggered by the shift drum. It's a really good system. I used to make these for Vance and Hines. They private labeled them. And my Power Shifter 2 went on to be a pretty neat little product way before electric shifters. I sponsored Fast by Faraci. Elraldo Faraci had it on his AMA Superbike Ducati that Doug Poland rode in the early 90s. Little history there. So get it in first gear, you turn on the shifter. Then I can choose here. What I'm doing here is this is not a shift button. I'm going to shift this bike by foot. I'll show you, my linkage is off, but I'll show you on the other side in a minute. So I have a choice. If I want to make a test pass and not get into the nitrous till when I want, that's this button here. So flip the switch this way. This button's activated, okay? All right, and I can say, for example, go out and make a test pass if I just get the bike running or I make some changes, don't want to get into the nitrous right away off the line. That'll allow me to get into it, say, top of second or third gear, whatever I want to do. And then I let off the button, shuts it off. Okay, once I get it dialed in, I'm going to leave on the throttle. I have a custom little ramp I did on the throttle here. And this little micro switch is up inside with the roller on it. And hear that right there? Barely hear it. Okay, at half throttle, that's going to activate my nitrous. That's when I switch it this way before I get to the line. Okay, so I choose which way, that's that. Okay, final step is this is your, once this is armed, this is my fuel pump for the fuel solenoid of the nitrous system. Okay, and that turns on, comes through down from the tank out to the solenoid. I'm surprised it did that. There's no gas in it hardly at all. Okay, we turn that back off. All right. Okay, now let's move to the back. That's the controls in the front. One more thing here is the shift minder. So obviously you want to set your shift minder, your shift points. This is how you do it. A Dyna shift minder starts at 6,000 RPM. So this little dip switch here, it's already at 6. So see, here's added 4,000. Here's 500, and here's 250 and 125. Add that up. I usually set it at about 10.7 to 10.850, 10,850 RPMs, the shift point on this thing. Peak power's probably around 10.6, okay? We'll get more in the engine later. All right, so then we move back here. So I showed you already how I set the fuel pressure, but I also have, I don't know if I talked about this, I might have. I also have this safety pressure switch here. When I push the button up front or the throttle's activated, first it will come in this side and give a 12-volt hot to this pressure switch. This pressure switch is a 4-pound Hobbs pressure switch where it's normally open now between the contacts. It has to have 4 pounds of fuel pressure to it before it will turn on fully. Okay, so I'm running 6 pounds of fuel pressure with the flowing pressure. So if it drops to 5 or 4 or below 4, it will shut this off, open the circuit, and both solenoids will close down and prevent a big explosion. Trust me, I've had it happen. The last year I raced in 95 with the ProMod 9-inch tire. Had a little wire down in the harness that frayed somehow. Don't ask me how it happened. But I had a voltage drop. I'd get in third gear, and the fuel solenoid would drop. The nitrous solenoid would not. And it went off like a bomb. It didn't break a piston, but it would backfire so hard it would blow third gear clear off the main shaft. And that wasn't pretty. So anyway, that's how that works. Then getting on to the ignition. I got the Dyna S, typical Dyna S on the bottom. I have my own timing marks, not only theirs. I run full timing, about 34 degrees on just the motor. Okay, and then you have one pickup to adjust the 1 and 4 with the plate. The 2 and 3 pickup is adjustable, so you can double check them on here, and then I can strobe it with the timing light as well. So I set it at 34 full advance so the motor's snappy. Say I need to leave and try to stay in first gear without the nitrous, then it's gonna, pull harder and not be lazy. And once you get into the nitrous, on this side here too, that's activated by the button, is also a hot to my Dyna ignition retard box. It's hard to see, but it's buried in there. I think you can kind of see the numbers right there. Okay, it has 2 different retards. I don't use the second one. It's not needed. I only use the first. So if I'm running this motor at 34 full degrees, when I get into the nitrous, I back it up to, if it's a moderate load, about 28 degrees total. Okay. If I step on it more, I back it up another couple degrees to 26 degrees. So each one of these is 2 degree increments, and there's a little arrow on the dial. Whoops, sorry. 2 degree increments. There's a little arrow on the dial there. So see 2, 4, 6, 8. So when I activate it, it will back the timing up. All right, here is a high limit rev limiter. It's built right on the side of the Dyna 4000. Been out for years. Really good ignition, stable. I have set at 12,000 RPM, and that's pretty much if just the motor breaks or something. The low limit is strictly, as you see, most of the drag bikes, either have a slider and they push in a button and it stutters, and when you let off the button, it shuts the low limit off. Or say you have a wheelie bar bike, usually then you'll do it on a clutch switch in the clutch. For just an example, hang on. Here's an old, used to use I think it's a Kawasaki Ninja 600. This is what was on my bike before when I ran it in ProMod. And see, there's a little adjustable button and a tab we weld on the shift lever and make it adjustable. And when you drop the clutch, boom, it pushes in that. You can adjust it, and it will shut off the low limit stutter. I used to leave with the wheelie bar anywhere from 7,000 to 8,000 RPM depending on the track and the clutch setup. And so you get to the line with the first limiter, you pull on the clutch, you hold it wide open, and it stutters, right at that RPM. When you drop the clutch, it shuts that off, and that's what starts the nitrous. We're not doing that at first. I'm going to run this bike without the wheelie bar, try to ride the thing, and it's been a long time. And my goal is to see if I can get this thing in the high 7s, break the 7s. It's not easy because, it's still only a 73-inch wheelbase. It's still a rigid rear end. It's not near as long as the Pro Street bikes now that are, 78, 80 inches long, with the Penske or air shocks or whatever they use. It's all trick these days. This is a rigid frame. I'm still using my clutch hand, which is to lock up clutch. I'm not using a slider. I'm going to ride the bike. So you can only go so quick, So we'll see how it goes and see if the old man can still ride. So that's about it. Let me see what else. So I'm not going to use a low limiter at all. And so the digital tach up here will strictly be for me to look on the starting line. Hopefully it's bright enough I can see it in the sunlight. So basically that's what I'm going to use to launch with. You know, and it'll take quite a few test sessions for me to, you know, get the gearing right, sneak up on the launch RPM, 500 RPM at a time, you know, find out where half throttle comes in with the nitrous, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now back to the nitrous system. So once the nitrous is activated, I used to have, in the old days, they didn't have a progressive box back then. They just came out with them. Schnitz had the first one. But for years they didn't, and when I was running this bike. So I made my own system. I had, no one said it would work with the nozzles behind the carburetors. I had a special set of velocity stacks with the nozzles back behind the carburetors. Matter of fact, I should have had them ready already. Oh, here's one right here. I made these, and that is your, instead of the fast by gas velocity stack they sell, here's my velocity stack that I actually made with a split clamp. I had this on the back of each carburetor. Okay, these same carburetors, these are 44 electrons. This is my same engine back. Well, I had a couple motors, but this is my latest one. Anyway, so what I would do is I had 2 sets of nitrous. It wasn't necessarily a 2-stage or 2 kits stacked on top of each other. Basically what I did was I basically pushed a button when I wanted to get into it, and I had a separate set that I ran a baby load in, okay? And then down on my shift lever here, this is my same, oh, it's not on there, damn it. I took it off because I've been working on a shift shaft support. Yeah, this little lever here, it's my shift lever. I had a little bolt sticking out, and I had a machine bracket with a micro switch, heavy duty one with an arm on it. And when I'd go into second gear, it would turn that off and then activate a time delayed relay to turn the big load on, which was the other set. I would turn the first load off and turn the second load on, which were the ones on kill, okay, or big. Because I only run 2-pound bottles, and it's better to do it that way. The bottle pressure just seems to stay more consistent and so on. So it's all I can fit in this frame. So that was that back in the day. So what we're going to do is we added the NX Nitrous Express little nitrous controller. They're only about $150. It's supposed to be a really good unit. Very simple. So what I can do is I can sneak up on my nitrous jets, you know. You usually keep a 2,000 spread at least. You know, you can take a chance and make more power by making them even or the other way even. But when you get up, you have to deal with the fuel pressure differences, and you have to deal with the bottle pressure accurately. I always ran mine right at about 1,000 pounds before I roll out of the trailer. And so your fuel jet, just for an example, like a little baby load like 22, 22 on the nitrous here, blue's nitrous, the straight one's your fuel. So 22 on the nitrous, you'd run approximately a 24, a couple thousand spread to make it safe, okay, on the fuel. So when I hit the nitrous and it comes in, say I have these jets way up where I want to make some pretty big power to run the numbers, okay? No numbers, I'm not going to tell you nothing. So that's like that. So with this little box here can be set at 0, so it just turns on right away. Or I can do half-second increments up to 4.5 seconds. So it starts approximately, like say if I had it at 1.5 seconds, okay? That means when it starts, it's going to be approximately 20% of the load I got in my jets. It's a little harder on the solenoids because it flutters the solenoids and then slowly ramps them in. So by 1.5 seconds, if that's what I have it set at, it's going to start approximately at 20% of the load. Say I'm on the throttle, half throttle, and then, you know, that's not going to shock the system. It's not going to wheelie as easy. And then it's going to ramp in smoothly, and at 1.5 seconds, it's going to be on full. They snap open all the way, and I'll be running off what I have it tuned at. Sorry, guys, I'm going to cut in the video. I forgot something here. I don't want to add it at the end. So anyway, my shift linkage comes down to here with my lever on it. So it's about like this. My feet are about right here. When I launch, comes right to the pegs, and then I push back to upshift. That's how this thing shifts, okay? One thing I forgot to show you also is I wanted to show you the Bike Master latest lithium batteries. Pretty trick. See, it shows the voltage. I don't know if you can see that. It's upside down, of course. It's hard to get this side. Yeah, you can probably see it. See 13.3 volts. So when I come back from a run, I can push that. And then it's so trick. See, that's 90% charge. You see it? So that's pretty neat. And yeah, that's the battery temperature, blah, 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 blah. These aren't ideal for running total loss, but you know, I'm only running so long. I've tested it now. It looks like it's going to work great. This battery's 360 cranking amps, but it also has more capacity. So it should work fine. I'm going to have a spare also lead acid battery. Another thing I just wanted to show you, the breather systems. I don't run a vacuum pump or anything like a pro stock bike. It's just too much on this thing, and like I say, it is what it is. So I got a breather off the top of the valve cover coming down, and I got one off the starter plug where the electric starter would go through. Okay, and then they both come down, and then I've got my little tank that I made years ago. It's all powder coated. So this is the one from the valve cover. Here's the one from the starter plug coming in, and then there's a hole drilled with another one. Here's my vent to let it breathe, and then on the bottom I have this nice little petcock. I have a little vacuum cap on it too, so I can check that. You know, obviously you don't want any. Sometimes you get a few little drips, which is normal, but that's how you drain it, and that's how you look and see if you got a problem. But I wanted to show you that right there, and the battery. Okay, and then the also here's my fuel pressure, excuse me, not fuel pressure, nitrous bottle pressure, see? So there it is. Like I say, don't have a nitrous line yet. Okay, on with the rest of the video. So anyway, here is also my harness. I built the whole harness from scratch. Let me tell you, it took me on and off 3 weeks. But it turned out real sano. It looks almost like a factory harness. And it's a lot of work, and it's mind-boggling. I'm telling you, it really is. There's a lot of stuff going on, and there's even more complicated stuff with computers, I know, but still. But anyway, it turned out pretty sano. It's all the loom. Got everything coming down here real nice. And I'm pretty happy with it. I've tested all the system. Everything seems to be working fine. These are my relays in here for my electric shifter. I had mounts on the frame for the coils, but the holes were kind of stripped and getting screwed up, and it's on a curve and it's real hard to fix them. So I used little handlebar clamps that I had from the tops, and modified them and stuff, and they turned out real sanitary. So anyway, that's about it for now. I think yeah, I got to still do a few things to the system. I don't have a nitrous line made up yet. I did a leak down on the motor. It's real good, only like 4%. And you know, I built this motor years ago, but I kept it oiled up and rolled around now and then. So yeah, very soon I'll be firing this thing up for the first time, and maybe I'll do a little video of that, and then I'm gonna set the timing and check the timing. Maybe I'll make a little video of the first startup. So pretty excited. I think it's cool, and old school, man. Ratzuki, blast from the past. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial and the wiring of Ratzuki. And yeah, here's also the MPS Deadman. Really nice little part. All right, you take care. I'll see you on the next video, and thank you for watching. Give a thumbs up, man. See ya.